Welcome to round 3 of Relic Battles. We have Cliff on the left playing his Dragon Slayers, and our author, Chris Mitch, on the right playing the Undead. It looks like Cliff has accidentally swapped two of his armies around. He's fixing his home and campaign army. Quite easy to forget which Dragon Slayer goes where when they're all the same. Alright, looks like our players are taking their Horde roll. Cliff has 4 results on his side. And on Chris's side, it looks like he's got 5 maneuver results. So Chris wins the Horde roll. Chris is going to go first, which allows Cliff to choose his own terrain. So now we'll roll those terrains for their starting values. Dragon Slayer starting at melee 4, and Cliff's home is starting at a 5 melee. And it looks like Chris's home is starting at a 1 magic. So it looks like the Frontier and Cliff's home are the terrains to be fighting for if you want those 8 faces. Chris is starting his first march of the campaign, bringing in one of his Null miners. You might think it's an odd choice to bring in Nulls for an army that has no missile results, as a Null has more missile actions than other faces. But it's a good strategy to choose a die where the disaster phase never affects your army. He can't have his missile results if he never plans on rolling for missile. So now that he's brought that miner in, he's going to roll for a melee attack. Looks like he's got sneak attack, which counts as just normal melee here. And it looks like 16 total melee results, which is an amazing roll, even with the counters that Chris is afraid of in the first roll. It looks like this might take out Cliff's army here. Let's see what he can do about 16 melee coming in. Cliff does get the counter, which is great. That's going to be 4 damage back at the Undead Horde with no save possible. So that's 4 damage that goes back to Chris. Alright, so Cliff took 12 damage. That takes out the entire army. And Chris is choosing which 4 units to take as his casualties. Looks like 4 zombies. Chris is going to maneuver Cliff's home terrain up. Then he is going to perform a melee attack. Chris is going to start with re-rolling 4 of his units, since his elemental relic rolled the logo icon. Then Chris is going to apply the Slay SAI from his Minor Death unit. He gets to target one of the Dragon Slayers in Cliff's army, and if that Dragon Slayer cannot roll its ID, it is immediately killed. Whew. The Dragon Slayer does not manage to roll a save, it gets smites. So that Dragon Slayer dies. And then Cliff has to try and save against 5 melee damage. Looks like Cliff did not get any saves here, but he is going to use the Elemental Relic to re-roll for more saves. And he does get saves this time around. So now he's going to try and counterattack. Not much risk in doing so. And he rolls Smite. So there's nothing that Chris can roll for to defend against it. Chris just has to take 4 damage, no save possible. Looks like Chris is going to bring a few of his undead units back into the reserves at the end of his turn, leaving most in play at those 2 terrains, but retreating a few of them back. Now at the start of Cliff's turn, he can use his Elderon Dragonkin Handler's ability to bring in a Dragonkin unit matching an element of the terrain. It looks like he's bringing in an Air Dragonkin matching the Wasteland terrain. Looks like his first march for Cliff is going to be at the Horde. He's going to skip maneuver and go straight into rolling for magic. He does get an ID, and with the Elemental Relic, the chance to re-roll his other unit, but still no magic. Only the ID is going to count. So now he's got 4 points of magic, and since it's a white Elderum, it can be any color of magic. I'm not sure what would be a good choice for him here, but one possible good choice may be casting Path to send his Dragon Slayer and a Relic to his home terrain to try and face off against the largest part of Chris's army while he still can. And sure enough, that is what he's doing. He's casting Path to move his Dragon Slayer and a Relic to the home army. Now, this is the first time we're seeing this tournament, but when there are 2 relics in an army, they do have a chance of canceling each other out. If the relics both roll the same element, keeping in mind that the SFR logo matches all elements, then both of those elements cancel each other out and have no effect. So let's see what happens. First, he's going to try and maneuver the home terrain, trying to get that 8th face. He does pretty good, getting 5 maneuver results. Let's see if Chris can stop him. Nope, not even close. One maneuver result. So Cliff takes this 8th face. And the temple is a good choice for him. It protects him from black magic, from death magic, which is everything the undead can cast. So it's a good call for him. He's rolling for melee. The relics get different results, an earth and a fire, so he can make use of both of them. And for his results, he has 4 smite. So we do the reroll icons first, and he's doing the fire element first to do a reroll, which gets counter. But now he can resolve the second relic. He could choose the same unit because he still matches the color, and he's going to do so, which unfortunately gets him saves this time. So it counted out the extra damage he got, but it means that Chris does not get a save. So Chris is going to take 4 smite damage, and then not get a save roll against that smite damage. Now that Chris has taken his 4 damage, he can choose to counterattack, and it looks like he is going to do so. It's a bit risky, but could also pay off. And it's looking pretty good. 6 melee. No benefit from the relic there, but 6 melee coming in. Let's see on the save roll. One of the relics rolled the SFR logo, so both relics are going to match because of that, so they have no effect. But he does have 6 saves, 5 from IDs and 1 from Dragonkin automatic saves. And that's enough to negate all of the damage. For his reserves, he's retreating his one Slayer at the Horde army to reserves, and now it's Chris's turn. Looks like he's going to start with his Dragonkin Handler's ability from his Dragon Lord, bringing in a Death Dragonkin unit to his frontier. For his first march, he's going to maneuver the frontier up to 5, which means he has to roll his miner. His miner gets another missile. So he has the option to do a missile attack. Let's see if he takes it. If he takes it, the Dragonkin does not get to make that roll. Looks like he's not going to take that missile attack and is going to move on to his next march. For his second march, he's going to attempt to maneuver off that 8th face that Cliff has taken. Alright, looks like Chris has rolled 5 maneuver, and on Cliff's side, he's only rolled 1 maneuver. The SFR logo on the white Elderim Champions has no effect on army rolls. So since Chris succeeded, it goes down to 7. Cliff no longer holds the 8th face, and Chris is considering a melee attack, but he is remembering how much those counters hurt as well. It looks like Chris is going to skip an action. He doesn't want to risk losing any more units, and is going to bring those reserves out to the campaign. And then his Horde army is retreating to reserves after all that work he did to maneuver Cliff off the 8th face. He is leaving that terrain. That's going to make things hard for Cliff, who is not very good at missile or magic with his army. And his army's not going to do him any good at one terrain. Looks like Chris is also going to retreat a couple other units and bring the Dragon Staff back with him as well. At the start of Cliff's turn, he's going to use his Dragonkin handling ability to bring in a red fire Dragonkin, matching the fire of the wasteland terrain. Then he's going to once again take the 8th face of the terrain. And since he is not very good at missile, he's going to attempt magic at this terrain. So again, Dragonkin don't roll for magic or missile, so he's going to ignore them. His relics did not match each other, so both of his relics can be applied to this roll, which is good because neither of his rolls produced magic. So he's going to start by rerolling 1, which is still no magic, and then do another reroll and still no magic. On to his second march. All he has is 1 unit in reserves. Looks like he's going to skip doing magic in reserves and go straight to the reserves phase, bringing his unit out to the frontier. And he'll retreat a couple of his units at the home, keeping his options open for the next turn for reinforcements. Back to Chris's turn. Chris is also making use of Dragonkin handlers to bring in another Death Dragonkin to the campaign terrain. Looks like he's choosing the Dragonkin that's good at melee, which will help him take out that Dragon Slayer. And his first march will be in reserves, rolling for magic. No benefit from the relic. He's got 7 results. plus from Bone Magic. He has 2 more magic for 9 total. He's going to use this 9 magic for 3 points of Resurrect Dead, letting him bring back 3 small units. For a second march, he's going to try and maneuver the frontier terrain. He'll have to roll that minor terrain first. Although the minor won't make a difference for whatever it rolls for him. It looks like it's disaster face, meaning he halves all missile results, which is no consequence to him. Cliff has rolled no maneuver results. Chris has gotten plenty of maneuver, 6 maneuver. So Chris has successfully maneuvered this up to the 6th phase. Chris has made a small mistake putting that Deadlands in the buried unit area right away. It should not go away until the next time he marches. So it's technically still in play. Chris is doing a melee attack. Now Chris has gotten the SFR logo on his Dragon Lord, which since it's an elemental Dragon Lord, it's not a white one. I should say Dragon Master. It counts as a 2-point ID. So it looks like he's got 7 total melee coming in. Wait, maybe 8. Yeah, it looks like 8. So yeah, it looks like Chris is going to take 4 damage from the counter, and Cliff is stopping 4 damage from the 8 incoming, but still takes 4, which is enough to slay his Dragon Slayer. Overall, a net win for Chris. Chris has the ability to bring his units back, and Cliff not so much. Cliff is also down to just 2 more units that can move around, 2 Slayers, so he can't control more than 1 terrain, or he can just barely control 2 terrains at this point. If Chris can take out 1 more Slayer, then Cliff will have no way to take 2 8 faces. Looks like Chris is going to go all out, bringing his entire reserve army to the frontier. This will let him take that 8th face that's getting very close, and then he'll have access to magic at that terrain, where Cliff does not have much he can do about it. Looks like Cliff is going to turn the terrain down to a 7, and skipping his Dragon Contendler's ability. Looks like he's just going to retreat his Dragon Slayer to the reserve. So it looks like Cliff is preparing for a face-off at the frontier terrain. Chris is not doing any maneuver. He's bringing in a miner, which rolls a disaster face, half missile results from the sandstorm, and he has no action he can take. Looks like he's going to retreat the entire army to reserves. Interesting move here. He is afraid of a face-off against Cliff, and a face-off is the only option Cliff has left. Looks like Cliff is going to split his army for his reserve step, taking the frontier and home terrain. So it's going to force Chris to act, because both of those terrains are pretty close to the 8th face. On Chris's turn, he's rolling for magic and reserves. Gets 4 from the relic. 6, 7. One of his units is buried, so I can't see what it is. I see 7 results, 8 when you count the bone magic. Looks like he's going to resurrect Dead on 2 of his small units. And interestingly enough, he's staying in reserves. He is not reinforcing out. I think this is a huge risk, possibly a big mistake. But let's see what Cliff can do with this. He's, of course, going to take 1/8 phase and turn the other up to 7. So back to Chris's turn. Cliff has forgotten his Dragon King Handler's ability, but nevertheless, on Chris's turn, he's rolling for magic. Not very much. I see 4 plus Bone Magic for 5. So bringing in 1 more unit. And it looks like he's going to have to go to the frontier. Alright, Cliff's turn. He's using Dragonkin Handlers to bring in a Dragonkin that's good at maneuvering. He'll start with magic at his home terrain, getting ID. Nice, he actually got a magic result, and ID's doubles. That's 8 points of magic he gets to cast. This is his chance to potentially get a second 8th phase if he can cast the right spells. Windwalk is a good option. Transmute Rock to Mud is a good option. Windwalk is probably better because he can get 8 added maneuvers to his march. That is what he's looking for. Double Windwalk. So he's going to add 8 maneuver results to his next maneuver roll. So since Undead are not very good at maneuvering, this is going to give Cliff a very good chance of winning the game right here. I think Cliff had a strong hand earlier on, but retreating to reserves and coming out so late has definitely put him in a very risky position right now, and Cliff got very lucky getting that ID rolling for magic. So let's see if Cliff can do it. They're going to maneuver at the frontier. The Undead need to roll at least 9 to oppose this, and it's not even close. I see 1 maneuver result. Cliff rolled a maneuver, so that's 9 total for him. And yep, I'm just seeing 1 maneuver roll on Chris's Undead army. So Cliff actually takes the 8th phase, 2 8th phases for the win. I did not see this coming. What an ending. This shows you always have to be careful with your moves, especially reserves and reinforcements. Looks like for fun they're practicing if they had made another attempt. And this would have been 8 maneuvers, it looks like. So still not enough to stop Cliff. Yes, amazingly, Cliff won this game. Congratulations, Cliff. Well done. That's 2 wins for this tournament. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Keep an eye out for our upcoming Kickstarter for the reprinting the Frostwings coming up on April 2nd.